अब हम नेक्स्ट सेक्शन, सेकंड सेशन जो है, फर्स्ट डे का सेकंड सेशन अब हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, जिसका टाइटल है फिलोसफिकल एंड हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड ऑफ आयुर्वेदा, जिसमें हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन हैं डॉक्टर JSR प्रसाद सर। को चेयरमैन हैं डॉक्टर नरेश शर्मा सर। और चेयरमैन हैं डॉक्टर मुरली के सर। डॉक्टर JSR प्रसाद सर के बारे में थोड़ा सा जान लेते हैं। तो सर जो हैं वो प्रोफेसर और HOD हैं संस्कृत स्टडीज स्कूल ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटीज, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ हैदराबाद में। पब्लिश्ड 31 जर्नल पेपर्स, थ्री बुक चैप्टर्स, टू बुक रिव्यूज, completed four research projects sponsored by UGC, UPE 1 and UPE 2nd, presented 35 national and 13 international conferences। तो मैं डॉक्टर JSR प्रसाद सर को इनवाइट करूंगी। सर प्लीज आप ज्वाइन करें।
Namaste. Am I audible?
यस सर।
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, madam. परतत्वामृतासार वर्षिणीम अतिहर्षिणीम श्री वेणुगोपाल कृष्णाख्य मूर्ति मार्तिहराम स्तुमः। इस सत्र का अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर मुरली सर, reputed scholar in Ayurveda, and उपाध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर नरेश शर्मा sir. Especially he is from Samhita Siddhanta background. I'm very happy to say something which I know partially in front of this stalwarts. I feel myself blessed and greatly privileged to participate in this wonderful program, that in this particular session. I would like to thank Vagbhatasarani, exclusively Professor Gauri Shankar sir, the General Secretary of this national webinar, and Professor John Finbay, the chairman of the webinar, Treasurer Dr. Shyam ji, Vice Chancellor, GLOCAL University, Chief Patrons, advisors, and all other faculty who involved in this, Dr. Betsy, Dr. Fahim. I'm sorry, I could not get the name just now, but madam has introduced me generously. To all of you, my pranams. History and philosophy of Ayurveda, whenever we think, what exactly the status of Ayurveda, इसके बारे में हमें थोड़ी बहुत जानकारी मिलनी चाहिए. So as a kind of motivation, मैं थोड़ी बहुत इसके बारे में कुछ अंश बताना चाहता हूँ. बुद्धिज्म में कहते हैं दुख समुदायः निरोधः मार्गः. दुख का कारण, उसका निवारण, अनिवारण उपाय, इन चारों को आर्य सत्य बोला जाता है, जैसे आप शायद बहुत लोग जानते भी हैं. दुखम is the root cause of all problems. जब आप आयुर्वेद में आएंगे, यही चतुर्व्यूह आपको जैसे तैसे मिल जाएगा. रोगः, रोग कारणम, आरोग्यम, भैषज्यम. It is very clear from this Chaturvyuha what was said earlier in the name of Arya Sattas in Buddhism. the disease, the cause of the disease, the health, arogyam, and the medicine, bhaishajyam. If you go to other systems of Indian philosophy, Sankhya and Yoga, these systems also talk about these Chaturvyuhas. Heya, Heya Hetu, Hana, and Hanopaya. Is the same thing. Visre Dukkhama, Roga, or Heyam, all are same. Samudaya, Roga Karanam, or Hey Hetu, सब एक ही है. वैसे ही निरोधा भी कहिए, आरोग्यम कहिए, आनम कहिए, सभी एक अर्थ दे रहे हैं. और मार्ग, भैषज्यम, हान का उपाय, सभी इसी अर्थ में इस्तेमाल किया जा रहे हैं. So, Dukkha Nivaranam is the goal of the Indian philosophy. Why I start from philosophy is, there is a great foundation of philosophy in Ayurveda. And this philosophy is seen from different systems of Indian schools of philosophy, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, even Vedanta. These are all contributory factors in Ayurveda. Of course, उस पर थोड़ी बहुत बहस हो सकती है. आयुर्वेद पे दर्शन का प्रभाव है या दर्शनों में आयुर्वेद का प्रभाव है, ये बात अलग है. अगर इसके बारे में कुछ बोलना है तो एक ही पॉइंट में बोलना चाहता हूँ. मंत्र आयुर्वेद प्रामाण्य वच्च तत्प्रामाण्यम, वेदों को प्रामाण्य बतलाते हुए गौतम महर्षि दूसरे अध्याय में न्याय दर्शन में कहते हैं, मंत्र आयुर्वेद वच्च तत्प्रामाण्यम. तत्प्रामाण्यम कस्य? वेदस्य प्रामाण्यम. मंत्र और आयुर्वेद दो एग्जाम्पल उन्होंने लिए हैं. मंत्र का सार्थकता होगी, मंत्र कदापि व्यर्थ नहीं होता. और आयुर्वेद, जैसे वाग्भट कहते हैं ना, विधेय परमादरः, आयुर्वेद उपदेशेषु विधेय परमादरः. Why? Because it is agama siddhatvat. This is an upaveda of the Vedas. Pratyaksha phaladarsanat. You are able to get the result directly. And you are perceiving, it is giving you tangible results. Mantravat samprayuktavyam. There he is using the word mantra, which is referred in the Nyaya Sutra. Mantra Ayurveda Pramanya Vacha Tat Pramanya. Na Mimamsing Kadachana. Further, Vagbhata says, it should not be doubted at all. It is on par with Veda. It is the Upaveda of Atharva Veda. As per the sayings of Charaka and Shishruta. Of course, Charana Vihokara, one of the most ancient Vedic scholar, establishes that Ayurveda is the Upaveda of Rigveda. Of course, our Acharyas are more practical. That way, we can consider this as part of Atharva Veda, because Atharva Veda gives information about a lot of mundane sciences. That is the reason we can affiliate Ayurveda with Atharva Veda. So coming back to where we have started, Dukkha Nivarana is the goal of all systems of Indian philosophy. These sages, you say Gautama, you say Kanada, you say about Kapila, or Patanjali, or even Jaimini, or Badarayana Vyasa, who are the propounders of 6 theistic schools of Indian philosophy. With utmost compassion, they have given us this knowledge. But when it comes to Ayurveda, the same compassion is seen in the Trisutra Ayurveda, Hetulinga Aushadham. These sages did not want anything. They are only looking at the welfare of the humanity. Vignabhuta yada rogaha pradurbhuta sharirina. As Charcha Samhita says in the Sutrasthana, right? So, as per the Yuga Dharma, the health of the people has been dwindled down. And they need to get out of this problem. because dharmartha kama mokshanam arogyam moolam uttamam. All darshanas talk about the purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. The first three are they called trivarga. The final one is moksha, emancipation. And this moksha has to be attained only through good health. That is why even Charaka starts his darshana by saying this. Rogastasya apahartarha, shreyaso jivitasya cha. Based on Yuga Dharma, the dharma has dwindled down because dharma is only walking on one leg in Kali Yuga. So these sages were so much concerned how to get these fellows out of this problem so that they could be able to achieve the moksha. To be frank, moksha is not exactly the Kaivalya or Advaita. Moksha is release from all the bonds, all worldly bonds, because we talk about Aishanas. From Aishanas, you release yourself. This is called moksha. Muchlu mokshana is verbal root in this. So that is how the Ayurveda has been passed on to the humanity from generation to other generation. Brahma smrtva Aisho Vedam. The word smrtva is very, very important here because it was also we can say it as created. कहीं भी सकते हैं, उसमें कुछ दिक्कत नहीं है, क्योंकि ब्रह्मा जी के अंदर जो परब्रह्म है, who is called unimaginable God, he entered in the Hiranyagarbha, who is called Brahma, and Brahma smrtva Aisho Vedam. He has we can say he has either kritva or smrtva. दोनों possible है. Prajapati Majigrahat, then Prajapati. Of course, there are some views that the Prajapati is not exactly Daksha Prajapati. It is the Mula, Vamshakarta, because for the entire humanity, Kashyapa is the Prajapati. We know these stories from the Puranas also. Of course, that's not that important. What is important is what is mentioned as an important issue that we need to look into, which gives us some knowledge. We are not bothered about the historical or other kinds of aspects. Knowledge is more important here. So, in this context, the Brahma is the initiator. From him, the Ayurveda has been originated. Brahma, Prajapati, then Indra, Ashwino, then Indra, from there Bharadwaja. I think this is the first ever international conference, we can say, in the history of humanity, where these 50 plus sages assembled together and discussed about this problem. So that is how we got this wonderful health science, which is standing on the edifice of philosophy called Ayurveda. Sukhartha sarvabhutana mata sarva pravurtaya sukhancha navina tasmat dharmat tasmat dharma paro bhavet. So as Vagbhata and Charaka, they endorse these views. Everybody is striving hard to get sukha and sukham alone. Nobody wants dukkha. So mataha sarvaha pravurtaya sarvaha mataha sarvabhutanam sukhardaha iti. Sukhancha vina navina dharmat. Without dharma, there is no sukha at all. Tasmat dharma paro bhavet. Because if you want to get the proper comfort, proper sukha, then be a dharmika. Tasmat dharma paro bhavet. What is dharma? Of course, there are yuga dharmas, samana dharmas, and vishesha dharmas. That is why this dharma is very, very important in order to get the sukha. Dukkha must be avoided, and dukkha is the root cause of all diseases, as mentioned by Sushruta. The dukkha sanyogaha vyathayaha. So this is how we can start to think about historicity of the wonderful science called Ayurveda. Ayushaha vedaha vedayati iti va Ayurvedaha. Hitahitam sukham dukkham ayustasya hitahitam. Manancha tacha etroktam Ayurveda Savuchate. Hitayu, Ahitayu, Sukhayu, Dukhayu. So these are the very, very important things that one need to understand, which is giving us the actual etymological meaning of the word called Ayurveda. Vida Jnane means to know. Knowledge is the meaning of the word Veda. So this Ayush is also again further. And Charcha all the time mentions a kind of interdisciplinary approach in order to understand the Shastra in a proper way. Ekam Shastram Adhiyano Navidyat Shastra Nishche Tasmat Bahushruta Shastram Vijaniyat Chikitsakaha. Nowadays, we talk about a lot of interdisciplinary studies, especially academic bodies like UGC. They talk about this interdisciplinarity. But much before, we were doing this interdisciplinary studies because the Shastras have kind of Paraspara Upajivaka Bhava. They supplement the knowledge with each other. Shastras also, Shastrani Paraspara Purakani. Idu Uktam Shakyate. So they complement each other. That is why even Bhartrahari says in Vakyapadayam, Prajna Vivekan Labhate Bhinnai Ragama Darshanaihi Kiyadva Shakya Munnetum Swatarka Manudhavata. So this is very, very important aspect of Ayurveda, which is not very much emphasized in darshanas. Though there are a lot of philosophical tenets that are seen in Ayurveda, but these kind of wordings not seen in other darshanas. For example, Buddhiman, Nastikya Buddhin Jakhyat Charaka says, if you want to be a good intellectual, shed off your atheism. Atheism is completely denounced by Charaka. So, and if you look into the Western medical development, Hippocrates who is considered as the father of Western medicine, who has proposed the four humoral theory, is not on par with our Pradosha Siddhanta. They are very clear because the strongest foundation of Ayurveda is Panchabhahabhuta Siddhanta. Each and every dosha is a product of one or two of these Mahabhutas. And this is so. We can see a very brief outcome of the knowledge passed on from divine entities to sages, from sages to the human beings and scholars of those days. Vaidika Yuga, Samhita Yuga, and Pauranika Yuga. Like this, we can broadly classify this entire time period of Ayurveda. I'm going to give you some examples in Vaidika Yuga how the elements of Ayurveda can be seen. Samhita Yuga, anyway, it is known to you, and Pauranika Yuga also. Ko aspin pradavan mamayan ko apanam vyanam samanam aspin ko devo athishishtraya purushe devan pranaya tvedanaya tva vyanaya tva. These are the two mantras from Atharvaveda and Yajurveda. मतलब किस देव ने इस पुरुष में प्राण अपान व्यान को बुना, किस देव ने समान वायु को आश्रय दिया, देवों को तुम्हें प्राण व्यान उदान के लिए देता हूं. This is the meaning of these two mantras. Vata, which is called Vayu, is one of the important doshas because Pittam Panguhu, Kapha Panguhu, Pangavo, Maladhatavaha, Vayuna Yatra Niyante, Tatra Gachanti Meghavat. It leads, the Vata leads the other two doshas. They're just dependent on the movement of Vata. Here, the 5 types of Vata is explained in the Veda, which is referring to the Vata in the one of the three doshas, the important dosha. Agne Pitta Mapamasi. This is occurring in Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. Like this, Yakrit Klomanam Varuno Bhishajjan Mataste Vayavyai Na Minati Pilam. This is from Ayurveda. Chashena Pittena. Again, Suparno Jataha Prathamastasitvam Pittamasitha. In all these mantras, the word Pitta is occurring. मतलब अग्नि का प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं तो जलों का पित्त है, वर्ण वायव्य पदार्थों से यकृत क्लोम मतस्ना की चिकित्सा करता हुआ अपित्त को नष्ट नहीं करता। इस तरह का अर्थ यहाँ निकाला गया है। और वैदिकीय शास्त्र में गर्भोत्पत्ति के संदर्भ में कहा जाता है कि मातरम पितरं चैके मन्यन्ते जन्म कारणम स्वभावम परनिर्माण यदृच्छांच इतरे जना। सो इन दिस स्वभाव, ईश्वर, काल, इच्छा और नियति, ये परिणाम इनको स्थूल रूप में कारण मानते हैं भ्रूण के उत्पत्ति के संदर्भ में। यही बात चरक संहिता में स्पष्ट रूप में भिन्न भिन्न ऋषियों को मुख से सुनने में आते हैं। ये वाला मंत्र श्वेताश्वतर लिया गया है, श्वेताश्वतर उपनिषद से। कालस्वभावो नियतिः यदृच्छा भूतानि योनिः पुरुष इति चिन्त्या संयोग येषां न त्वात्मभावाद् आत्माप्यनीशः सुखदुःख हेतोः ते ध्यानयोगानुगता अपश्यन् देवात्मशक्तिं स्वगुणैर्निगूढां यः कारणानि निखिलानि तानि कालात्मयुक्तानि अतितिष्ठत्येकः। Wonderfully correlated with what is said in Charcha. And they talk about दिव्य वैद्यस। वेद में वैद्यों का लक्षण बताया गया है। क्या क्या लक्षण है? शायद 4-5 लक्षण बताया गया है। संपूर्ण औषधियों को अपने पास ठीक रखने वाला, विशेष प्रबुद्ध जो अपने शास्त्र का पूर्ण सांगोपांग जानते हैं, सांगोपांग ज्ञाता, युक्ति और योजना को जानने वाला यो भिषज्यति। चौथा, राक्षसों का नाश करने में समर्थ है। और राक्षस मतलब यहाँ ये डेमन के अर्थ में नहीं लेनी चाहिए, रोगों को जड़ से उखाड़ सके। ये 5 लक्षण इस मंत्र में उन्होंने शामिल किया गया है। यत्रौषधीः समग्मत राजानः समितामिव विप्रस्समुच्यते भिषग रक्षोहामिव चातनः। तो जिस प्रकार से राजा लोग अथवा क्षत्रिय सभा में एकत्र होते हैं, उस प्रकार से जहाँ औषधियाँ इकट्ठी होती हैं, उस विशेष मनुष्य को वैद्य कहते हैं। वही राक्षसों का हनन करने वाला और रोग दूर करने वाला कहा जाता है। ये अर्थ उन्होंने दिया। इसका तुलना हम चरक संहिता में कर सकते हैं। श्रुते पर्यवदातत्वं बहुशो दुष्टकर्मता दाक्षम शौचमिति ज्ञेयं वैद्ये गुणचतुष्टयम्। So almost they are correlated with each other because Ayurveda quotes all the time from Vedas alone. तस्माद् अधिगत शास्त्रार्थो दुष्टकर्मा स्वयंकृतिः लघुहस्तः शुचिः शूरः सज्जोपस्कर भेषजः प्रत्युत्पन्न मतिर्धर्मा धीमान् व्यवसायी विशारदः सत्यधर्मपरो यश्च स भिषक्पाद उच्यते। This is the wording of Shushruta. The nice pratyaya is used by Shushruta here, Bhishakpada, like we say Tata Pada, Pitru Pada, Guru Pada, like that. Bhishak Pada is an honorific title. Like this, there are important aspects of Ayurvedic elements that we can see in Vedas. There are many. In fact, I am only giving you just a glimpse of very few. I think my given time I should not cross anyway. So Upanishad says, Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. This self is not to be attained by the weak, Kathopanishad says. Then how to make this Atma strong? Shariramadhyam Karu Dharma Sadhanam. Kumarasambhava Kalidasa says, this body is a primary mean to get any kind of welfare further. Shariram Adhyam Kalu Dharma Sadhanam. Dharma Artha Kama Moksha. When the body is diseased, the person cannot be able to perform any activity. That is why we should be very careful about the body. That is why Kashyapa says, Sarvamanyat Parityajya, Shariram Anupalayet, Tada Bhavaihi Bhavanam, Sarva Bhava Sharirinam. So much importance is given to this wonderful concept called Sharira, because people think that body is not given proper importance in darshanas, but we can see this importance in Ayurveda. In other darshanas, they did not bother about the body. There is a wonderful story in Upanishad. A guru was asked by one of his disciples. He just completed the lesson, saying that Atma is Avinashi, it cannot be destroyed, is eternal, etc., etc. But body is perishable. Once the Atma leaves the body, based on the karma, it will again enter other bodies, etc. The disciple has got a doubt. What the body need to be denounced completely. What my guru said might be correct. Then why should I worry about my body? That's how he has fixed his mind. Then he went to the forest to collect the samit. शाम में बहुत अंधेरा हो गया, वापस आने में इनको देर हो गई. He was all of a sudden he entered a mango grove. Immediately he became a goat, and from nowhere suddenly a dreadful tiger jumped, and it is just looking at him. The disciple is in the form of goat, and this tiger is seeing at him as if it can devour the goat at any moment. But he did not do. Like this, the episode continues till next morning. By the time sun rose and this tiger disappeared, and this disciple who is in the form of goat again got back his original form. Meanwhile, the guru who was worried about his disciple came in search of him and found him here. Then what happened to you? Why you did not come back? Then he says all the story. Then he says, now I understood the importance of body. Shariram is very, very important. Without Sharira, we cannot do anything. So, this, as I mentioned, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharvaschete, Tetraya, Arthashastram, Chaturdhancha, Vidya, Kshishtadashayavataha is one of the Upavedas. And to extend the nirvachana of Ayush, which I did not mention earlier, Sharira, Indriya, Sattva, Atma, Sanyoga. The union of this Sharira, Indriyas, Sattva, Sattva is Manas, as we know, and Atma. Union of these four important elements is called Ayush, which is called also Dhari, which is also called Jivitam, it is also Nityaga, it is Anubandha. And I was listening to a senior doctor, very good scholar in Sanskrit also. This Nityaga, Anubandhaga, Dhari, Jivitam, these words are explained him. Especially this Nityaga is taken in the sense of genes. Maybe the doctors can think further about the implications of these words. And as part of the definition, I was talking about Sukhayu, who is having good youth, enthusiasm, strength, virility, reputation, manliness, boldness, etc., etc. And Hitayu, well-wishers of all creatures, who do not aspire for the wealth of others. Truthful, peace-loving, so many qualities are attributed to the Hitayu. The Ahitayu and the Dukhayu are just opposite to this. And it is अष्टांग आयुर्वेद, काय चिकित्सा, शल्य चिकित्सा, शालाक्य, कौमार भृत्य, भूत विद्या, ग्रह चिकित्सा, एंड अगध तंत्र रसायन एंड वाजीकरण, अष्टांग आयुर्वेद तत्र उक्तः. So when we briefly think about some history, some sort of foundation principles of Ayurveda, the first important philosophical tenet come to our mind is Paramanuvada. Paramanuvada is popularized and initially propounded by sage Kanada in his Vaisheshika Darshanam. But in Ayurveda, they say Shariravayawastu Paramanu Bhedena Aparisankhyeya Bhavanti. The अवयवास ऑफ द शरीर, शरीर में जितने भी अंग हैं परमाणुओं के भेद से असंख्याक होते हैं. तेषां संयोग विभागे वायु कारणम कर्म स्वभावश्च. उनके संयोग और उनके विभाग में कारण कौन है? वायु. साथ में कर्म है और स्वभाव भी है. इतना ही दोनों में अंतर है कि वैशेषिक लोग क्रियात्मक सिद्धांत को मानते हैं परमाणुवाद के संदर्भ में. आयुर्वेद में आध्यात्मिक सिद्धांत के तौर पर इसको देखते हैं. ठीक है, मैं अति संक्षेप से बाकी फिलोसॉफिकल टॉपिक्स का प्रस्ताव रखूंगा. द्रव्यों के बारे में जैसे उन्होंने बताया, खादिन्यात्मा मनक्कालो दिशिश्च द्रव्य संग्रह सेन्द्रियम चेतनम द्रव्यम निरीन्द्रियम अचेतनम, as it is they have taken from Vaisheshika. And gunaः गुर्वादि गुणाः विश्वलक्षणाः गुणाः, the Rasavaisheshika text defines this. Mahamahopadhyaya Pratasmaraniya, Dr. Raghavan Pirimalpad sir has annotated this text in English by lighting the sutras. Wonderful text that is published by Kottakkal Ayurveda Sala, Rasavaisheshika. That book gives this definition. विश्वलक्षणा गुण. कर्म, कर्म क्या होता है? संयोगे च विभागे च कारणम द्रव्यमाश्रितम. पूर्व देश उत्तर देश संयोग विभागो कर्म, ये डेफिनेशन उन्होंने दिया गया. सामान्य क्या होता है? यत्राश्रिताः कर्म गुणाः कारणम समवायि तत्. So सामान्य means actually jati in Vaisheshika, but this is again classified into parasamanya and aparasamanya. That is why the same samanya is taken, that is conducive to the medical science in Ayurveda. Sarvada sarvabhavanam samanyam vruddhi karanam sasahetur visheshascha pravrutti ruphayasyatu. Wonderfully mentioned in Charcha. And samanyam ekatvakaram. And they talk about dravya samanya, guna samanya, karma samanya. This is very fascinating topic, in fact. Apyayanam is happening in the dravya samanya. Mamsena mamsam varthate. Instead of mamsa, the vegetarian people can also take masha, urad dal. And guna samanya, karshyadi gunaha, like madhura, snigdha, shita. These are the gunas. Kshira, sarpi. These are all increasing the shukra, saman in the person. Shukrasya vruddhim kurvanti. Karma samanya, gamanadi, etc. But how that gamana can be understood in Ayurvedic context? Asya sukham, Shaya kapha vruddhihi. In fact, this is leading to a metabolic syndrome, further to the prameyasa, etc. And Vishesha gavedhika dhanyam mamsasya hrasam karoti. Mamsam mamsena vartate cheta tat samanyam bhavati. Visheshaha gavedhika dhanyam mamsasya hrasam karoti. So this is what they have mentioned with regard to dravya, guna, samanya, vishesha. And the actual definition of swasthya is really wonderful. Dhatu samya kriya chokta tantrasyasya prayojanam is the prayojanam mentioned earlier. But wonderful definition is given by Sushruta in Sushruta Samhita. Samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriya prasanna atma indriya manaha. Prasanna atma indriya manaha. Many people utter like manaha, but this is a bahurvi. Manaha Swastha ityabhidhiyate. He is only called Swastha, whose doshas, all three doshas, Agnis, Malas, Atma, Indriya, Manas, everything is an equilibrium. There is a homeostasis between all these things. And to achieve the Dhatu Samya is the prayojana of this Tantra. And with regard to Dhatus, they mentioned as Prasad Raktan Nato Mamsam Mamsan Medah Prajayate Medasosti Tato Majja Majna Shukram Ityadi. This is I think I need to mention about all this. Even BAM students are aware of these important principles. Then Ayurveda talks about Loka Purusha Samya. There is a saying, Yadha Pinde Tadha Brahmande. So Charaka in Sharirasthana says, Yavantah hi loke bhava visheshaha tavantah purushe. Yavantah purushe tavantah loke. So this is a Loka Purusha Samya, wonderful theory. Whatever happens, whatever exists outside the body, the same thing exists inside the body. That is why the body is susceptible to the changes of the nature. For example, Vata, it creates Janja Vata outside. Same kind of Janja Vata could be created by Vata inside the body when Vata is aggravated. Similarly, Pitta and Kapha, which are the representatives of the fire and water elements. Chandogya says, the earth is the essence of all beings. Water is the essence of the earth. Herbs are the essence of the water, and man is the essence of the herbs. Annat Purusha, as Upanishad says. So this is one important aspect in the Loka Purusha Siddhanta. Yavantaha Purushe Tavantaha Loke. Yavantaha Loke Bhavishesha Tavantaha Purushe. This is very, very fascinating idea of the Acharyas of Ayurveda. And the Purusha is called Shraddhatu Purusha. Initially, the Purusha, before the Purusha, the entire life form has been classified into Sthavaran and Jangama. Sthavaras are 4 kind, Jangamas are again 4 kind. Jara is Andaja Sveda Udbhijya, Vanaspati, Vanaspatya, Viruddha, Aushadhi. This is the basic classification of the life forms. And when the human being takes birth through the womb of the mother, they have described the process wonderfully. Bijatmakair Mahabhutaihi Sukshmaihi Sattvangaischya Saha Matuscha Ahara Rasajaihi Kramat Krishau Vivarthate. Bijatmakair Mahabhutaihi. These are called Tanmatras in Sankhya. These are the Bijas. Because from Tanmatras, Panchapahabhutas emerge as per the Sankhya philosophy. Tadrushaihi Bijatmakaihi Mahabhutaihi Sukshmaihi Sattvangaischya Saha. They are very subtle in nature. And they go along with the sattva. Matascha ahara rasajaihi kramat kakshav vivarthate. So this is how the genesis of embryo is mentioned in Ayurveda, which is just based on the Panchamahabhuta Siddhanta. And the 24 tattvas mentioned in Sankhya are the primordial factors of these process. Avyakta, Mahat, Ahankara, which are instigated by karma prerita vayu. Karma is there and vayu is also there. Vayu alone is not responsible, but karma is also there, which is again another wonderful concept accepted in Ayurveda. Because we talk about karma and punarjanmana. And body is a conglomeration of the atomic molecules, just as I was mentioning about Paramanuvada. Just to quote Shishruta here, Tam Chetanavasthitam Vayar Vibhajati. Tejaha yenam pachati, apaha kledayati, prithvi samhanti, akasham vivarthayati, eme vivarthitaha saha yada hastapadadibhi angaihi upetaha, tada shariram iti sanyan labhate. This is the definition of body, which is wonderfully given in Ayurveda, especially by Sushruta. Of course, this kind of description or analysis cannot be seen in other, modern medical sciences. Shariravastu Paramanu Bhedena Avarsankhya Bhavanti, as they mentioned already. So this Garbhopati is also mentioned accordingly, Kalalam Dvaikaratrena, etc., etc. Then Apohi Kalalam Bhutva Yatpindas Tanukam Bhava, just akin to the process of sprouting. The same process happens in the womb of the mother. And all hard tissues of the fetus are Pitrujas, all soft tissues are the contribution of Mata, these are their Matrujas. अतएव षड्धातवः समुदिताः पुरुष इति शब्दं लभन्ते तद्यथा पृथिव्यापस्तेजो वायुराकाशं ब्रह्म च अव्यक्तम्. This is how Charaka concludes about the Purusha. And Atma, अव्यक्तमात्मा क्षेत्रज्ञः शाश्वतो विभुरव्ययः तस्माद् अन्यत् तद् व्यक्तं तद् अव्यक्तं वक्ष्यते चापरं द्वयम्. Like this, it gives a wonderful description of Atma. Atma is Avinashi. It is the Chit, which the Vedantins talk about in a great extent. Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramitya Vidhiyate. The Kshetrajna is nothing but the Atma. So, this Atma is again, of course, is mentioned in Upanishads, etc. I am not going to discuss about that thing. When you come to Manas, Anuttamata Chaikattam Dauguno Manasas Smrtau. These are two wonderful qualities about the concept of Manas in Ayurveda, which is, of course, again accepted parallel in Indian theistic schools of philosophy. ये अणु है और ये एक है, अनेक नहीं है. एक समय में मन हमें लगता है कि ये बहुत सारे चीजों को ग्रहण कर रहा है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. सूची पत्र न्याय etc. they give to distinguish the kind of delay that is happening in the process of cognizing the events. Chincha, Vicharya, Ukhya, Dhyeya, Sankalpya. These are the qualities of the Manas, functions of the Manas. Chincham is what to do, what not to do. Vicharya, Upapatti, Anupapatti, Vimarsha. You will thoroughly analyze. Ukhya, Sambhavana, it's a kind of inference or hypothesis. Dhyeya is called Bhavana Jnana Vishaya. Sankalpa, ultimately come to this point. And Kaladik, about this, I have to see further what exactly is mentioned there. And Paramatma, Ayurveda talks about Paramatma, Nirvikara Parastvatma, Sattva Gunendriyahi, Chaitanya Karanam Nityo Drashta Pashyati Kriyaha. I think you might have studied this. That is why I am not going to elaborate further. Again, Avyaktamatma Kshetrajna Shashtrato Vibharavyaya Chaitanya Karana Nityam Drashta Pashyati Kriya is mentioned in Charaka in different sthanas. That is why Shariram Saptasanjancha Vyadhinam Ashrayo Mataha Tatha Sukhanam Yogastu Sukhanam Karanam Samaha. Because the Sharira is nothing but Dosha Dhatu Mala Mula. And when you come to Tridosha, especially, a beautiful shloka is available there. Visargadana vikshepaihi somasuri anilayatha dharyanti jagaddeham kapha pitta anilas tatha visarga adana vikshepa. These are the three activities done by Soma, Surya and Anila. Soma is Chandra, Moon, Surya is Sun, and Vayu. Anila is Vayu. Dharayanti jagat. Deham kim dharayati kapha pitta anilah. So they reciprocate each other. The same kind of activities, Visarga activity, Adana and Vikshepa activities are done by these Tridoshas. That is why Sushruta says, Tatta Sattva Bahulam Akasham, Rajo Bahulo Vayu, Sattva Rajoguna Bahulo Agnihi, Sattva Tamoguna Bahula Apaha, Tamo Bahula Pudhivi. Based on this association, the Tridoshas are emerged. And they talk about the three types of factors of getting any disease: Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga, Prajnaparartha, and Kalabuddhindriyarthana Midhya Nachaticha. This is a pointer in this direction to understand further. And the three types of treatment is also mentioned in Ayurveda: Deva Vipashaya, Yukti Vipashaya, and Sattvavajaya. In all these factors, so much of philosophy is embedded because Daivam is there. Daivam is almost, Daiva Vipashya is almost equal to the kind of faith healing that they do that they believe in Western countries. So when it comes to other factors like Vimanasthana, Charaka has given wonderful insights, especially for the students of philosophy. He suggests us to talk to each other, have a dialogue. Tadvidya sambhasha, bhishajasaha sambhasheta. And he says further, Tadvidya sambhasha buddhi varthanana, because this increases our intellect. There is a saying, Vade Vade Jayate Tattvabodhaha. When you keep on discussing the aspects of Shastra with the fellow scholars, we grow in our knowledge. That is why he says, Tadvidya sambhasha buddhi varthanana. Shastra sahita tarkaha sadhanana. Without tarka, nothing can move. That is why, while accepting the number of pramanas in Ayurveda, Charaka says, Anumanam khalu tarko yuktapekshaha. It prerequisites the Anumana and Tarka, they are going together. Naisha Tarked Matrapaneya, the Upanishad says. Specifically, when he talks about Pratyaksha, Pratyakshantu khalu, tad yet swayam indriyehi manasacha upalabhyate. There is a greater discussion in Nyaya Darshana with regard to Pratyaksha Lakshana and a Swarupa of Pratyaksha Pramana. Because it is the mother of all remaining Pramanas. And Anumana follows, that is why it is called Upajivya Upajivaka Bhava. Tasmad Vividha Pariksha Jnanavatam Pratyaksham Anumanancha. Trividha va saha upadeshena. Trividha va is used by Charaka over there. Upadeshana tatra aptavakyam shabda. These three are there. But Yukti is also used by Charaka, but the scope of Yukti is limited to sort of clinical context. Pratyaksham, he has given wonderful pointers how to use Pratyaksha in the Rogi Pariksha. Rogi Pariksha and Roga Pariksha, as both of them are very important. By Panina, Tvak, Pranina, Prikriti Vikriti Yuktam, Chakshus, Varnaha, Samsthanam, Pramanam, Chaya, etc. Shrotram, Antrakujanam, Jikhva, Author Pariprashyan, Author Makarasam Vidyat, Granam, Sarva Shairagatan, Authorasya Prakriti Vaikarikan, etc. Anumanam also has got wonderful pointers, Agni, Bala, Shabdadi, Manaha, Vijnana, Rajas, Moha, Krodha, so on and so forth. A gamut of factors has been provided by the Acharyas for wonderful diagnosis and prognosis. And Agama, Roga Prakopanam, Roga Yoni, Atmanam, Adhishtanam, Vedanam, etc., etc. The way Apta is refined in Ayurveda is not to be seen in any other Darshana. Apta hi avitarka smriti vibhaga vidaha nishpratyuha upadapa darshanascha tesham evam ganayogad ed vachanam tat pramana. Whatever they say, that only will become pramana. That becomes the authority in order to accept anything or to reject anything in context of medical science. This is the first pramana that is mentioned in Ayurveda, Apta, because you follow the Guru, which is also mentioned in Vimanasthana, Shishya Pariksha, Guru Pariksha, etc., etc. Like this, there are many aspects. Maya Sthali Palakanyayena केचनैव विषयाः अत्र प्रतिपादिताः वर्तन्ते. तत्र गुणदोषविचारं अत्रस्थः विद्वांसः मूर्धन्यविद्वांसः आचार्य मुरळीमहोदयाः एवञ्च नरेश महोदयाः दृष्ट्वा अग्रे सत्रस्य सञ्चालनं कुर्युः. So with this I am giving a pause here and over to the chairman and co-chairman of the sessions. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद सर. अब मैं डॉक्टर बेट्सी वर्गीस को आमंत्रित करती हूँ कि वो सेशन के को चेयरमैन और चेयरमैन से हमारा परिचय कराएं. डॉक्टर बेट्सी.
Thank you, ma'am. This session is co-chaired by Professor Naresh Sharma. He is currently working as the Dean Academic, Professor and Head, Department of Samhita and Siddhanta in Shiva Ayurvedic College and Hospital, Bilaspur. He has teaching experience of more than 32 years and administrative experience for 14 years. He has been in teaching field since more than 2 decades and also in research and administration since 2 decades and guided more than 20 students during this career. He joined Government Ayurveda College Paprola in 1988 and spent more than 2 decades at the same and was principal there for 4 years. Now, this session is chaired by Dr. K. Murali sir. Dr. K. Murali, son of Padma Bhushan Vaidya Bhushan Raghav, had completed his graduation with rank from Vaidya Ayurveda College, completed his post-graduation in Chikiৎসা from Government Ayurveda College Trivandrum, retired as medical superintendent and professor of Chikiৎসা from Government Ayurveda College Tripunithura, now serving as chief editor, Center for Textile Studies and Publication, Ayurveda Chala, Kottakkal, for the past 3 years. Thank you.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर बेट्सी। अब मैं क्वेश्चन आंसर्स के लिए जो है वो इनवाइट करूंगी डेलीगेट्स। आप रिसोर्स पर्सन सर से क्वेश्चन आंसर डिस्कशन जो है वो कर सकते हैं। आप अपना वीडियो जो है वो ऑन कीजिए और खुद से ही अपने क्वेश्चन जो है वो पूछ सकते हैं। आपको चैट बॉक्स में क्वेश्चन डालने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, आप सीधा अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिए और रिसोर्स पर्सन सर से अपने क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं। थैंक यू।
नमस्ते जय सर प्रसाद सर।
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste sir. Sir, you were mentioning about Purva Janma Krita Karma while you were talking about this.
Yes.
So I just got a doubt, sir. When already we people are having a Purva Janma Krita Karma, Sharira Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam, whether that
Yes.
is having any meaning or what when it comes to treatment, as already we are carrying a heavy weight of Purva Janma Krita Papa or Karma, whatever it is.
No, the other part of question I missed. You are mentioning to Sharira Madhyankala Dharma Sadhana, right? How you wanted
Yes, sir.
to connect with this? I got the first part of the question.
Yes. So when we are having the heavy weight of Purva Janma Krita Karma,
Yes, yes.
is it really possible to have a treatment protocol or anything to maintain it?
Yes, yes, yes. Very nice question. Actually, as much as I see, Charaka says maybe considering the Mula, Chakrapana Datta says in his commentary, why Chikitsa is given. As you just asked, this karma prabhava is so much on the individual, and at the same time, this fellow cannot come out from the clutches of the karma, and because nabhaktan kshiyate karma, kalpa koti shatairapi. The karma cannot be exhausted without experiencing it. So, in that aspect, what is the purpose of chikitsa? In fact, you just repeated the question of Chakrabarti Datta as much as I remember. You know, he gives a wonderful example. Immediately, I am not recalling the textual words, but he gives example like somebody is walking on a path and suddenly he skid and fallen on the path. It will take some time for him to get up because there is a little injury. So what one will do, one person goes there who want to help, he gives his hand. And using that lift, that fellow gets up and come back to normalcy after some time. This is the same kind of chikitsa is doing. Vaidyakiya Chikitsa Shastra is only doing this kind of activity, giving a lift to the patient. This is Yeah, this is what I remember from Charcha Samhita, especially from the Chakravarti Datta's commentary. Otherwise, karma prabhava is so much there. Purajanma krutam papam vyadhirupena bhathate. No doubt. Tachantar aushadair danai japa homa sarachanai. But there is one aspect. This chikitsa is a kind of remedy. But what about the sin that need to be undergone, that need to be experienced by the person with the effect of the karma? Basically, this roga is a sin. Outcome of the sin is roga. If chikitsa is actually overruling the sin, how that can be experienced by the person? In fact, this will be either postponed to later part of life, or this will postpone to next janma itself. So, up to some extent, medical science helps us. Aushadha, dana, japa, homa, etc., whatever is mentioned, these factors will postpone the kind of punishment in the name of disease to the later part of life or the next birth. I think this is so. These two aspects of the question can be answered, I guess. Maybe Chairman sir and co-chairman sir could give more insights. I don't know whether your question is answered. If anything further, please kindly continue.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sir, namaste.
Namaste, sir.
May I ask one question, sir? It is
Please,
not a
please, sir.
question. Your concept on the evolution of darshanas.
Yes, sir.
And we are taking all the 6 darshanas in Ayurveda. So how that darshana has come to existence, and so that Ayurveda is getting so much help from the darshanas. The evolution of darshanas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In a short way, because I know that it is a very wide subject.
Yes, sir.
In a short.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this was the question even I posed myself while talking about some of the points. So darshana drishyate aneneti darshanam. Kim drishyate? The nitya vastu, the eternal thing is found out, and the non-eternal things are eliminated in the process. So this is called viveka khyati in some of the darshanas like Sankhya and yoga. Because Ayurveda is also striving to get the attainment of the health, at the same time it is aiming towards the Purushartha, that is final Purushartha called moksha. And the common goal of all systems of philosophy is also moksha. That way there is a kind of correlation between Ayurveda and other darshanas. And with regard to the influence of other darshanas in Ayurveda or influence of Ayurveda and other darshanas, I think the elements are already there in Vedas. Elements are already there. For example, if you look into the Sankhya Darshana, we refer to Kapila as the propounder. But, the kind of tattvas that are mentioned in Sankhya are already seen in Mahabharata. Of course, Mahabharata also talks about Tridhatu, not Tridosha, in Udyoga Parva. So these Sankhya tattvas are 17 that are mentioned in Mahabharata. So elements of darshanas are seen in Upanishads also. Shvetashvatara Upanishad talks about Triguna, which is very, very important aspect of Ayurveda, because we talk about 16 Manasa Prakritis, 7 Sattvika, 6 Rajasika, and 3 Tamasika Manasika Prakritis. The root cause is there in the Upanishad. From there, Sankhya has taken this. Equally, Ayurveda also taken. But still, as I see, as a student of Sanskrit, the influence of Ayurveda is on darshanas, or the influence of darshanas in Ayurveda. As of today, I could not come to a conclusion. Maybe this is because of my inefficiency to understand the nuances of the system. But definitely what my feeling is, both Darshana and Ayurveda have taken cues from the Vedas. because everything is there in Vedas. Vedokilo dharma moolam. And this dharma is mentioned by darshanas, and dharma is talked about by Ayurveda. Tasma dharma paro nityam. That way, I think they go hand in hand, they go parallel to each other. This is what I am feeling, sir, at this moment. Maybe I can be corrected.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is an education when you question us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. पार्टिसिपेंट्स में अगर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाह रहा है या इस टॉपिक पे डिस्कशन करना चाह रहे हैं तो प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड.
I know that again only glimpses of some of the historicity and philosophy of Ayurveda. Maybe I should have given more pointers so that you can more questions can be made. But nevertheless, you can ask anything because I have a confidence in my chairman and co-chairman will justify the answers.
Hello. Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, when we come into Rasa Shastra, there is a philosophy of mercurial system called Rasayeshwara Darshana.
Yes.
In that, it believes in Jivana Mukti. That is the lively liberation. But when we come into Purusharthas, it is says about moksha, which is after the death only. So, how we can connect these two philosophies, sir? In Ayurveda, there is in two branches, there is different philosophies there. So, how we can connect, sir, this two?
Yeah, it's a good question. As I was mentioning some time back, this actual meaning of moksha is not exactly the mukti. Moksha is nothing but a release from the worldly bonds. There are many ashanas mentioned. For example, pranayashana, utreshana, paralokeshana, dareshana, dhaneshana. Three set is exclusive to Upanishad, and three more set is exclusive to Bhagavatam and other texts. So these are the bonds. For example, if you take Dareshana, Utreshana, and Dhaneshana, all the worldly desires revolve around these three ashanas alone. Ishyate asmabhi iti ashana. So these ashanas tie us to the world in the name of Dara, that is the wife or husband, not only wife, but husband also equally possible in the name of Dareshana, Putreshana or Progeny, and Dhaneshana, because you have Dareshana and Putreshana, you need to have possessing the wealth. That is why Dhaneshana is also important. When we release ourselves from all this kind of ashanas, which are called worldly bonds, that is the actual meaning of the word moksha or mukti. In fact, both words are derived from the same verbal root, muchlu mokshana. That way, maybe I'm doing a sahasa to redefine the concept of moksha here. But unfortunately, this is misunderstood in the darshanas. Either it is misunderstood or it is not properly commented upon or interpreted by scholars by just overlooking. It's not that they don't know; they know it. But the proper way of interpretation is this, as I think, is only released from the bonds. That's it. In fact, when we say about moksha, in fact, you have asked a very profound question, madam. Moksha is only possible. Let me say like this. Each and every darshana has their own kind of moksha. If you know 16 padarthas, you get nishrayasa in nyaya. If you know 7 padarthas, you will get moksha in same nishrayasa in vaisheshika. And Sankhya talks about 25 tattvas. If you know the difference between the Prakriti and Purusha, then definitely you are able to distinguish these two, and you can attain the Kaivalya. Same Kaivalya is talked in Yoga Sutra. But unfortunately, how we attain this Kaivalya, Nishrayasa or Moksha, is not very clear. Just by knowing the nature of padarthas, sadharmya, vaidharmya of the padarthas, can I be able to attain myself to the position of moksha? That is not the correct thing. That is why you have to travel towards Vedanta. Because yavat nagarjati Vedanta kesari. All the shastras are like the jackals that are crying in a forest until the king of the animals, lion, comes and roars. That is Vedanta. Jambuka vipine yatha. Tavat garjanti shastrani jambuka vipine yatha. Nagarjati mahatejaha. Yavat Vedanta kesari. A wonderful sloka. So we have to take the information from Vedanta. So Vedanta says, again, there are 3 types of Vedanta. Let me just finish off in another 2 to 3 minutes. It's a very profound topic, because my point of proposition is, moksha is not possible if we try. That is the point I'm emphasizing here. So Ramanuja, Shankara and Madhva, these 3 philosophers have given us 3 different darshanas. Shankara given us Advaita, and Ramanuja given us the Visishta Advaita, and Madhva has given us the Dvaita darshanas. In fact, Shankara told that you are Brahman. That is how I think, Aham Brahmasmi. When you remove your Chitta Vikshepas and Malas, then you are able to realize that you are Brahman. In fact, the philosophy of Shankara is misunderstood by this scholarly community. Why? Because there is a purpose of saying this. Those days when Shankara originated in 8th century or so, entire country was filled with the atheists, Nastikas. One side the Buddhists, the other side the Purvamimamsakas. And they are actually making everybody into Nastika. There is no God, there is no Veda, there is no Yajna, Yaga, etc. Yajna, Karmanu Rupani Paraphalani, as Mimamsaka says. I do one karma, and the karma is giving me the fruit, so that I am going to heaven. They believe in Veda, but they don't believe in Ishvara. That way they are also atheists, but unfortunately they are part of the theistic schools of philosophy, Astika Darshanas. Buddhists, the silence of Buddha is misinterpreted by his followers. Buddha never said that there is no God. That Shunya, whatever he mentioned, you cannot describe, because Mauna Vyakya Prakritha Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam, as Shankara says in Dakshinamurti Stotra. You cannot describe him. He is unimaginable. Only Maunam need to be taken. That's why he kept silent. But his silence is taken as the absence of God. That is why Buddhists become Nastikas. In order to change them to Astikas, Shankara used this trick, because Shankara Sakshat. God can only do the proper psychological counseling of the souls. That is why he said, you are Brahman, you are God, then only he will accept any God. Otherwise, he says, no God at all, and he commits sins and he goes to the different types of hells. God don't want. God wants to see the harmony in the world. And when it comes to Ramanuja said that you are not God, Baba. You are just a part of God. There is really a gradual psychological counseling, and it is a divine design of these 3 acharyas. If you ask me, being a Sanskrit student, in our Sanskrit field, we fight with each other. I am Advaiti, you are a Visishta Advaiti, you are a Dvaiti, etc. Utterly wrong. All these 3 acharyas come in a sequence with a proper planning. Initially, counseling done by the biggest challenge before any acharya is converting these atheists into theists. That is achieved by Shankara by saying that, Arya Baba, you are God. And he started to believe. Several hundreds of years have passed on. Then Ramanuja came and he started to mention that you are part of God. That is called Sesha Seshi Bhava. They are in the sky, they fall into the half of the skies. Chalo, theek hai, भले ही हम भगवान नहीं हैं, भगवान का अंश तो हैं. That is how they thought of. After a few hundreds of years, Madhva came, he said, you are not even part of God. You are just a servant of God. That is called Sevya Sevaka Bhava. Shankara mentioned Jnanadeva Kaivalyam. But Jnana requires Bhakti, and Bhakti requires Karma. This is called Nishkama Karma Yoga in Bhagavad Gita. So there is no difference of the opinions of 3 acharyas. It's a gradual psychological counseling done to humanity to convert them. But those days, whatever medicine is given to that patient, being good, thinking that I'm a patient, I'm trying to swallow that pill, which is the Advaita. Thinking that I'm God and I'm Brahmasmi. That way, my point here is, as I just mentioned about the purpose of these three acharyas, because Shankara is Shiva and Ramanuja is incarnation of Vishnu and Madhva is incarnation of Brahma. How come same God, which is manifest in different divine forms, is differing from his own words in the name of Ramanuja or Shankara or Madhva? Not possible. That means there is one, Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. This is the actual meaning of the Advaita or Kaivalya. Unless God thinks, we cannot get moksha. So that is my point. Ishvara Anugrahadeva Pumsam Advaita Vasana. Unless God thinks, we cannot rise to the level of God. That is why two words are very important here. Avatara. He descends down as the human incarnation. Many human incarnations are passed on. Even currently also many human incarnations are there in this earth, which we don't know. Some we know. Like Dattatreya avatars, many from Maharashtra we can see. Starting from Sripada Srivallabha. But never it is said in the Shastras or Veda that the person can go and get dissolved in the God so that it gets Kaivalya. It is not Uttara. Nowhere it is mentioned. Avatara is only mentioned. So to recap whatever I was trying to say, moksha is not possible if you try. Irrespective of you follow Sankhya, irrespective you follow yoga, you follow Nyaya or Veda, any kind of thing. So that way, if you see, the bhakti is the only important ingredient in this. Jnana gives bhakti, bhakti gives karma. Without karma, there is no attainment of the moksha. That is the grace of God. So this is purely philosophical. Since the question is profound, I need to answer this way. You may ask me why that Raseshwara Darshanam has mentioned this. Most of the darshanas like this are written by great scholars, and we don't know who is the actual author. Even in some Upanishads, some portions have been inserted. In Shastras, some portions have been inserted. These insertions are the activities of some scholars. So there is some purpose they thought of. For example, Nayayikas consider 4 pramanas, whereas the Vaiseshikas, which is just a sister concern, think that simply 2 pramanas are enough. 2 praman kafi hai. Why? Loko bhinna ruchi. Maybe I'm thinking in this moment, Raseshwara Darshanam talked about this aspect. From that point of view, unfortunately, the scholars could not be able to interpret the purport of those sutras in a right way. This is my gut feeling. I think there are some questions in the chat box. Can I take it, madam?
जी sir. First question है, what is Brahm Tattva?
जी. Brahma is, in fact, Brihi Vruddho is the verbal root of Brahma. In Gita, it is mentioned that there are so many Brahmas. For example, I'm among the Munis, I am the Kapila. Among the Bhaktas, I am Prahlada. Among the trees, I am the Ashwatha. Like this, he has mentioned some specific entities. Vedanam Samavedas. Among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. So in each of these categories, that particular entity called as Brahma, Brihi Vruddho. That is, Brihi Vruddho means Sreshtha Vachaka. It is having a honorific place. So when you come to Parabrahma, this is different than Brahma. Brahma is only denoting a kind of respect, or the kind of magnanimity involved in that particular place or position or in the name. Whereas the Parabrahman is something different than this. That is why I was just mentioning from the Dakshinamurti Stotra, Mauna Vyakya Prakritita Parabrahma Tattva. If everything is Brahman, how do you distinguish Parabrahman? Who is the creator of this entire universe? So Kamayata, Bahusyam Prajayayeti. So we need to distinguish. That is why these can be called as Brahman, as for the example of Gita, whereas the Parabrahman, beyond all this, because it is also, let me also say this point contextually, the space that is generated by the Parabrahman is not in him. If it is in him, if you say, it is not generated at all. Just think logically. Tasmadvaya tasmadatmana akasha sambhutaha akashad vayuhu payoragni agneerapaha. Even the scientists had not concentrated on this aspect. How water is produced from fire. You can see in Jwalamukhi in Himachal Pradesh. You can get water from fire. That means the Siddhanta is there. The practical is given in some of the places like this. So the Parabrahman is beyond the entire creation. The universe is continuously expanding, and we never know the borders of this universe, which is accepted in modern science. But you cannot be able to know boundary means after the boundary, you can see the Parabrahman. The existence of Parabrahman is only after the boundary of this expanding universe, expanding space. That is not possible, but that doesn't mean he is not aware of any of this creation, because he is beyond the creation. He is omnipotent, he is omniscient, and he is omnipresent. Sarva Shaktimatva, Sarva Vyapitva, Sarvajñatva. These are the qualities associated with the Parabrahman. So let us try to distinguish these two words, Brahman and Parabrahman. Brahman is just a title. It is the best in that category. This is the meaning of the Brahman. Any other questions, if that is answered?
Yes, sir. There is another question from Dr. Muhammad Fahim.
Yeah.
Sir, can you please explain some of the theories of darshanas which have greatly influenced and benefited Ayurveda?
Excellent question. For example, the Karya Karana Bhava. I was mentioning about the Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta. Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta is directly taken from the Vaisheshika Darshana. Whereas Karya Karana Bhava is also taken from Vaisheshika and as well as Nyaya. So the Hetu Linga Aushadha, Trishutra Ayurveda, talks about the root cause. For any effect, there must be a cause. If there is a cause, an effect must exist. So with regard to this, Karyam and Karanam, this is having a greater discussion in Indian philosophy. Karya Karana Bhava is universally accepted. Nobody says that an effect can be seen without a Karana. Without mud, you cannot generate a pot. Pot requires the mud. Mud will be converted into pot. The kind of Karya Karana Bhava that is mentioned in Nyaya and Vedanta is as it is adopted in Ayurveda. It is Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta, which is having even modern parallels, I think. That blood transfusion kind of activities. Nothing but the Samanya. So, the Loka Purusha Samya Siddhanta, Ramana Siddhanta, and the total dravyas that are accepted in the darshanas, exclusive Vaishesha Darshana. Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, Vishesha, Samavaya. Of course, Abhava is not taken over there. There is no purpose of Abhava as they discussed in the context of Vaisheshika and Nyaya. Abhava, they require a lot of affiliated terms like Abhava, Pratiyogi, and you need to bring in another delimiter called Avachedaka and Avachedya. These are all the technical jargon of Nyaya. That is the, intellectual gimmicks, we can say, one way. But that is preserved the Vada Parampara. The tradition of debate was preserved by the Tarka exclusively using these kind of elements. Instead of Abhava using as it is, they have taken this Abhava Pratinitha Dravyas, I guess, in Ayurveda. For example, you know better, Mandokaparni is substituted for Brahmi. So that way, this abhava can be seen that way. All 7 padarthas taken as it is. Gunas are taken. 24 gunas they talk in Nyaya, but here is 40 gunas they are taken in Ayurveda. And karma panchavidham they say. Samanya parapara samanyam and Visesha is prathakta krita. And Samavaya. Samavaya is a kind of inheritance. It's an inseparable relation between a guna and dravya, because kriya gunavad dravyam they say. Kriya and guna, these two are inseparable from a dravya. A cow is moving, cow is a dravya, it is a white in color, shukla gauhu, and a chalati, it is moving. The chalana karma and the shukla guna, both are inseparable from the pinda, dravya called cow. So that way, the basic fundamentals starting from Panchamahabhuta, Karyakarana Bhava, and all these Dravya Guna, etc., and also Eshanas, all these have been taken in Ayurveda as it is, along with the most exciting theory called karma. One of the participants were asking about this question, karma Siddhanta. So that way, Ayurveda is very much complementary to Darshana. I myself, some 16, 17 years back, I was not aware of the actual purport of Ayurveda. I was only thinking that this is only giving us some kind of medicines, Kashaya, Churna, etc. But when I was looking into the Sutrasthana as of Charaka and Shishata Samhitas, I was really startled. What a fool I am. Being a Sanskrit student, I missed to read these wonderful Samhitas so long. That is unfair. Since then, I started to look into the aspects of the philosophy in Ayurveda. As a student of Sanskrit, I really delight to read the original text along with commentaries, which gives immense pleasure. Because a philosophy student must study Ayurveda. That way, we can say so many philosophical theories are found in Ayurveda. And one more thing is the modern medical science, the bioscience, unfortunately misses this aspect. They don't talk about Tridosha, they don't talk about Panchamahabhuta Siddhanta, even Trigunas also. Because until 1947, the definition of health that is given to us by the WHO was not modified at all. But thousands of years back, we were very, very clear. What you mean by the concept of health? They're very, very clear. The spiritual health or mental health become part of the definition of health only in year 1947, as much as I see. So that way, this is an exclusive science, giving us a philosophy also. This is, I think, it's a bonus for scholars who are interested in philosophy part.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Abhilash PR. Dr. Abhilash PR, sir. आप प्लीज अपने क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं.
Yeah, I think he has written in the chat box. Of course.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you can also directly ask. By in the word meaning and difference. Yeah, namaste. I'm sorry, sir. Your voice is breaking.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible, sir?
Not very clear. Your voice is breaking.
One minute, sir.
Yes. You are asking about the difference between Brahma, Parabrahma, and Brahmanda.
Yes, sir. That was my first question. There is one more question. Presently, our physics has been evolving so much, especially in quantum physics.
Yes.
So it is kindly almost kind of reaching the same philosophy that we had, like our darshanas or yoga or mimamas or whatever they have told.
Yes.
They are also even in search of God particle, etc., and other things.
Yes.
So can you please kindly explain something related to this?
This is an interesting question. Thanks for asking me. I don't know much about this, but I may try to give some input, which may be further investigated. The first question, regard to first question, I have already given an explanation about the distinction between Brahma and Parabrahma. Brahman is the best in a respective category. Normally, we don't use in colloquial language that I'm Brahman in my department like that. But as per the wordings of Gita, some categories are mentioned in which the best is mentioned as the Brahman. In fact, Brahman word, I don't know, it is used in the original text, but as per the commentaries and as per the essence of the word, we can definitely consider it as considered to be the Brahman. Then Parabrahman is the one who is called unimaginable God because Naisha Tarkena Matirapanaya. Neither by words, neither by logic, neither by anything else, you can know him. That is why he is not imaginable, called as unimaginable. And unimaginable God is, let me quote something from Upanishad. Ekaki naramate, sadidhiya maichat. He was alone, ekaki, naramate. That is why he is not getting entertainment. So didhiya maichat, he wanted to get the second. Satchat tyacha bhavat. He became the Sat and also he became this Tyat. Tyat is related to Sat is of course truth, that is eternal. All three kalas, all three times, Bhuta, Bhavishya, Vartamana, it exists. Whereas the Tyat is nothing but the first energetic being, we can say. Now, I'm talking about the very, very beginning of the creation. Parabrahman is there. He's got bored with the aloneness. Bored in the sense, not exactly boring. It is like Shankar Bhagavad gives an example. A king is served with a lot of meat at his palace. After some time, he wanted to go and hunt the animals in the forest. What does it mean? He has enough number of quantity. I mean, enough number of flesh, meat, etc. at his palace. But why he goes for the hunting? Only to get a different flavor. Similarly, God is already Ananda Swarupa, Ananda Brahmeti Vijanat. At the same time, he wants to get different flavor. That is why he has created the first energetic being called as Datta. He has been given himself in energetic form to the world. That is called Datta, means given. From where you can come to know about Dattatreya. The son of Atri Rishi is called Atreya, and he is Dattaschasu Atreyascha. That is why Dattatreya. So from that energetic first energetic being, Parama Vyoma is created, and in that Parama Vyoma, this energetic being is there. Further, he has created the Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, and Narayana. Hiranyagarbha is Brahma, Narayana is Vishnu, and Ishvara is Shiva. These are the three different functions of the same unimaginable God who has entered the body of first energetic body. I'm telling you a very profound aspect. I don't know. This is not written in some of the texts. I got to know this wonderful information from our Guru and Swamiji. He belongs to Dattatreya tradition. So from the three Trimurtis, the 30 crore devatas have been originated. But ultimately, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. There is only one Brahman, that is called Parabrahman. Of course, there is a little confusion with the usage of the word Brahma, Parabrahman. Strictly speaking, when you refer to the God, he must be Parabrahman. All remaining forms are his manifestations. That way, Parabrahman is always other than the creation, and he alone exists. The Datta is also called as Shakti. That is called Mahamaya or Moola Maya, which is mentioned in Gita also. His Shakti is called Maya. Maya is not exactly the feminine in form. You can imagine that way because God can take any form. Basically, in the terms of physics, we can reduce this entire concept to energy. You talk about E is equal to mc square. There is an interconvertibility between energy and matter. So a matter is a condensed form of lot of energy. Then only you call it as matter. So that way, the Parabrahman, in terms of quantum physics that you have asked with regard to a second question, can be reduced to the inert energy. Sorry, unimaginable energy. From unimaginable energy, whatever has created further, they can be called as imaginable energies. that scientist has to go deep and deeper into these aspects only. When we remove the adjectives like Parabrahman, Brahman, Bhagavan, etc., etc., because Bhagavan has got the Visheshnas, Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashasriyaha, Jnana Vairagyavacheva, Shannam Bhaga Itirana. When a person possesses these qualities, then only he is called Bhagavan, Aishwarya, Virya, so on and so forth. The list is being given. So, but what they are trying to do is the imaginable God and unimaginable God, the imaginable energy and unimaginable energy. The unimaginable energy cannot be known to us. Ashaddam, Asparsham, Arupam, Upanishad says. It doesn't speak. Apanipado, Javano, Hanta. It doesn't have feet and legs, feet and hands, but still is able to do sankalpa. So it can create. In a moment, the entire creation has come. That is so, this all these terms can be reduced to the energy, which is called basic innate energy. From there, the awareness has come. Awareness is Chaitanyam or Atma. So this Atma is the first Atma is referring to God Datta or Shakti or Mahamaya or Moolamaya. The next word, Atma, is referred to the Jiva Chaitanya. This Jiva Chaitanya is again having subtle body, gross body, and causal body. 3 types of bodies we have. Of course, in Ayurveda also, this discussion comes. Sura Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Parthiva Sharira. So, I don't know how far quantum physics is able to find the God particle, because within the realm of the creation, we try to understand the creation of God. But unfortunately, he is beyond the creation. He is not scalable. He is beyond any measurements. Anything that exists in the world must have kind of volume. And you know what you mean by volume. It doesn't have any of this. How it is, we don't know. That is why we call it unimaginable, Anukhya. We call it Anukhya Parabrahman. That's it. How he thinks, how he works, we don't know. We can only imagine the way he entered the bodies of another energetic deities, starting from Datta, Hiranyagarbha, Narayana, and Ishvara. Then again, for the worship of the energetic beings, they have taken that form. For the worship of human beings, the God incarnates. He comes in the human form. He just like us. Krishna was just like us. Rama was just like us. That is why Anjanaya served only Rama. Gopikas served only Krishna. They did not worship the previous energetic incarnations or previous incarnations. Gopikas did not worship Rama. They worshipped only contemporary human incarnation. So these are all the concepts with regard to the energetic beings and human beings. But when you refer to the Chaitanyam, that is called consciousness, this consciousness is eternal only with reference to body. Avinashi, etc. they say, no? So I don't know how far they are able to find out. If they are able to find out the borders of this universe, then they are able to find out the God particle, I believe. Because we are using worldly logic to understand the unimaginable creation of the God. The simile is not correct. Our intellect can go up to some level only, because we are still in the world. We are not God. And we are trying to understand his design of the universe. So, these are the views.
धन्यवाद सर. अब डॉक्टर बेट्सी, प्लीज आप आगे का जो हमारा सेशन है उसको कंटिन्यू कीजिए.
Now I invite Professor Naresh Sharma sir for the co-chair notes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I congratulate and thank to the organizers of this session, Global College of Ayurveda Medical Sciences and Department of Sanskrit Studies, School of Humanities, University of Hyderabad. I also thank to the chairperson, Dr. John Finway, and general convener of the program, Dr. P. Gaurishankar, all the staff members, principal, vice principals, and all the students who joined this session, particularly the resource person, Dr. J.S.R. Prasad, who's from Sanskrit background, has very nicely elaborated all the philosophical concept related to Ayurveda and how the philosophical aspects has been correlated, interpreted in Ayurveda. Very nicely he has explained all the things. When I was watching, मैंने ये जज किया during the question answer session, आयुर्वेद में एक कोटेशन लिखी गई है, जैसे कि डॉक्टर JSR प्रसाद ने भी इस बात को कोट किया था, आयु काम्यमनेन धर्मार्थ सुख साधनम आयुर्वेद उपदेशेषु विदेया परमादरा। तो मैं उन स्टूडेंट्स का भी बहुत ही धन्यवाद करता हूँ। इतना जटिल विषय, मुझे बताया गया था कि 100 पार्टिसिपेंट्स इसमें होंगे, लेकिन नो आई एम सीइंग देयर आर ओनली 35 पार्टिसिपेंट प्रेजेंटली, जिन्होंने इतने जटिल विषय को इतना मगन होकर सुना, और डॉक्टर JSR प्रसाद ने इतने जटिल क्वेश्चंस का आंसर बहुत ही बढ़िया तरीके से कि आयुर्वेद ने दर्शन को किस रूप से ग्रहण किया है और उस दर्शन के सिद्धांतों को क्योंकि आयुर्वेद में ये बात बड़ी स्पष्ट कही है, तस्य आयुषा पुण्यतमो वेदा वेद विधाम मता वक्ष्यन्ते यन मनुष्याणाम लोक्योर उभयोर हितम। तो आयुर्वेद सिर्फ चिकित्सा शास्त्र नहीं है, लेकिन इस लोक में और परलोक दोनों में ये फल देने वाला है। और इसलिए सबसे पहले, जैसे हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन डॉक्टर JSR प्रसाद ने बताया कि दुख हानो पाया हे हेतु, दुख की निवृत्ति का कारण क्या है और उसको दूर करने का क्या उपाय है, इन सब के लिए और अल्टीमेटली मोक्ष की प्राप्ति के लिए, तो आयुर्वेद में ये कहा गया है कि दोनों लोक में हित कर, परलोक में भी और इस लोक में भी हित देने वाला ये आयु का ज्ञान है। और इसमें इन सभी सिद्धांतों का हमारे आचार्यों ने वर्णन किया है, और इसमें किसी प्रकार की हमें शंका नहीं रखनी चाहिए। जहाँ पुनर्जन्म की बात आती है 63वें अध्याय में, तो उन्होंने लिखा है कि हमें संशय बुद्धि को त्याग कर आयुर्वेद के उपदेश को समझना चाहिए, उसके ऊपर चिंतन करना चाहिए, मनन करना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये जो आयुर्वेद का ज्ञान है ये आप्त पुरुषों के द्वारा दिया गया है। तो इस में किसी प्रकार की संशय बुद्धि नहीं रखनी है, और इसमें एक एक सिद्धांत पूर्ण विज्ञान की कसौटी पर कसकर इस सिद्धांतों का वर्णन यहाँ पे किया गया। आपके क्वेश्चंस में मैं सुन रहा था, और हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन प्रोफेसर JSR प्रसाद जी ने एक जगह का नाम कोट किया, ज्वालामुखी। आई एम वेरी नियर टू ज्वालामुखी, आई एम रेजिडेंट नियर टू ज्वालामुखी। तो वहां पर एक ज्योति जलती है, और आज तक इतने साइंटिस्ट उसका पता लगाते रहे कि ज्योति कहाँ से जलती है। ONGC डिपार्टमेंट वहाँ उसकी खोज करता रहा कि कहाँ से ये ज्योति जलती है। तो कुछ बातें ऐसी हैं जिनको हम विवरण नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो उन सब चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए आयुर्वेद के इस बात को समझना चाहिए। इसके अतिरिक्त ब्रह्मा ने जब आयुर्वेद का उपदेश दिया तो त्रिसूत्र रूप में हेतु लिंग औषध ज्ञानम स्वस्थ आतुरपरायणम। आयुर्वेद में सदैव द्वंद्व चलता है, स्वस्थ आतुर, शीत उष्ण, गुरु लघु, सामान्य विशेष, है ना। वीर्य की बात आई तो शीत उष्ण वीर्य, तो ये जो द्वंद्व चलता है आयुर्वेद में, स्वस्थ आतुर किया सिद्धि स्थान में, तो वहां पर लिखा है कि ये जो जिस व्यक्ति के हृदय में द्वादश सहस्त्री ये संहिता तिष्ठित है, वह किसी भी प्रकार के रोग की चिकित्सा कर सकता है। और ये जो आयुर्वेद के उपदेश या आयुर्वेद के सिद्धांत जो मेंशन किए गए, ये स्वस्थ और आतुर व्यक्ति के लिए हैं। और उन्होंने यहाँ तक घोषणा कर दी, आचार्य चरकबाज ग्रेट साइंटिस्ट, फिलोसफर, और उन्होंने ये कहा कि जो चरक में है वो सब जगह आपको मिलेगा, लेकिन जो चरक में नहीं है वो कहीं नहीं मिलेगा। मीन्स इतना गागर में सागर भर देने वाली कोटेशन। तो इस बात से हमें ये अनुमान लगाना चाहिए कि आयुर्वेद के सिद्धांत कितने स्टीक प्रैक्टिकल हैं और स्वस्थ और आतुर दोनों के लिए हितकर हैं। तो मैं बहुत ज़्यादा समय ना लेता हुआ अभी समय, ये तो इतना जटिल विषय है दर्शन, और संस्कृत के बैकग्राउंड के हमारे जो प्रोफेसर JSR प्रसाद इतने बढ़िया तरीके से उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया। मैं इनको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ, साधुवाद देता हूँ और बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ। अंत में मैं पुनः आप सभी का अपने हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ, जिन्होंने मुझे इस सेशन का को चेयर करने का सुअवसर प्रदान किया। धन्यवाद। जय आयुर्वेद। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. K. Murali, sir, for the chair note.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Apurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasme. Actually, this...
Sir, I can just say one thing, sir.
Okay.
I also thank to my chairperson, Dr. K. Murali, sir. So nice.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Apurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasme. We had a very nice session, very enlightening session with our resource person, Professor JSR Prasad, who is belongs to the Sanskrit Department of Sanskrit Studies of Central University of Hyderabad. Actually, he interpreted Ayurveda through the lens of Indian philosophy and narrated the different aspects, philosophical and historical aspects of Ayurveda also. He very fluently quoted from all the texts of Ayurveda also and responded to the questions very well. I think all the delegates who raised questions will be very much satisfied with his answers. He started the presentation from the beginning point of all the philosophies, that is dukkha, bhikha. So it is dukkha or sorrow that makes one to think upon its causes and the remedies. So in Ayurveda, dukkha is also synonymous to roga, roga papma, juro, vyadhir, vikaro, dukkha mamaya. So dukkham is a synonym to roga, and sukha is synonymous to health or arogya also. Here the basic dukkham in the context of Ayurveda is disease itself. And only by correcting the disease, remedying the disease, one can achieve all the three vargas, dharma, artha and kama. So this together considered as Trivarga, this has got more importance in Ayurveda than this Purusharthas or the four Dharmartha, Sukha, and Moksha. Trivarga is more related to Aihiga, more related to this world. And only in this world we can do something with which we can achieve moksha. So more importance is given to Trivarga. That is somewhat a differentiating point with other philosophies from Ayurveda, I feel. He also narrated how Ayurveda evolved through the Vaidya Yuga, Samhita Yuga, Puraniya Yuga, etc. Vedas also, in Vedas also, he quoted several mantras highlighting the references on Ayurveda. The several organs are mentioned in Vedas, and also several herbal plants are also mentioned, and their uses also. Even though the Vipasraya Chikitsa has got a little bit importance, they were also aware of the Yukti Vipasraya mode of treatment, I feel. On Tridoshas, only meager mentions are there in Vedas, and I think in somewhere Tridhadu, the term Tridhadu is used connoting the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Many of the organs mentioned in Vedas we cannot find in later Samhitas, because Ayurveda is not considered as a conglomeration of organs alone. There are some principles that controls, that coordinates all the organs in the body, and these are designated as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Even though to explain Samprapti or explain the disease process, we rely upon the organs. They also have a role in the disease manifestations, but we interpret the diseases in terms of doshas. Even some diseases are not at all mentioned that can be understood through the doshic view, and we can formulate the treatment also. Anuttamabi doshanam linger vyadhim upadiri. The best example is the COVID-19, which we have faced throughout India together with the whole world. So the Ayurveda could manage all these diseases also, even though we cannot find a direct mention of this disease in the Ayurvedic Samhitas. So it may be in the Upanishad period, which was almost a evolving period of different philosophies, that the Tridosha theory also developed during this period, I feel. And some of the texts also consider Ayurveda as a Panchama Vedas, a fifth Veda. And some texts, of course, consider as an Upaveda also. He also narrated the different padarthas and the relation between dosha with the external forces like Soma, Surya, Anala. That also imbibes the theory of macrocosm and microcosm. Pramanas also very well interpreted by him. Its use, actually we use it not only in the diagnosis of the treatment, but also in the identification of herbs also we use all these pramanas. That also very well mentioned. Yukti is also an important pramana, which was actually the original contribution of Charaka. Yukti Strigala Satya Trivarga Sadhyadeda. So that is a probability, something a probability, and there is a multifactorial involvement, factorial involvement behind all the phenomena that can be seen only through the eyes of Yukti. For example, while assessing the prognosis of a disease, we have to assess all the signs and symptoms, the strength of Nidana, or the strength of Samprapti, the Desha, Kala, the Prakriti of the individual, everything we have to assess. So, to have an idea on the prognosis of a disease, there are several factors involved. So, in Anumana, there is a single factor is involved, but in Yukti, Bahukarana Yoga, Yukti is Bahukarana Yoga, and I feel that this Yukti has a more important in Ayurveda. Coming to the discussion was also very live and enlightening, and I wish to comment upon some of the points related to the discussion also. Dr. Anup Kumar asked some question on karma causing disease. It is already mentioned in Sahaja Vyadhis are actually due to the karma. Also, based on karma, we have the classification, karmacham, dosha karmacham, doshajam. That classification is also available in different texts. Everything cannot be managed with medicine. There are some limitations for chikitsa, and that is connoted by the concept of karma or karmaja vyadhi. Medicine treatment also still is very much important, but we can because we can limit that is also mentioned by Dr. J.S.R. Prasad. We can limit the effect of karma with some medicines, and in some cases the karma can be an ulpadaka nidana, and our abhathya, mithyahara vihara, can be a vyanjaka nidana. The factors related to karma may be a predisposing process, while the mithyahara vihara can be a precipitating cause. So this idea is behind the classification of nidana, like ulpadaka hetu and vyanjaka hetu. With this ulpadaka hetu, we can limit its manifestation to some extent. For example, diabetes. If prameha is inherited, it will not be manifested in the childhood itself. So, with adequate pathya, we can delay its manifestation, or perhaps we can avoid it. So, there is a role for treatment even in karmaja vyadhis. Another point is that we cannot say one particular disease as karmaja in the beginning itself. When the treatment fails, then only we can say that there are some karmaja factors involved in this disease. So we can go for this Devabhasriya Chikitsa in such cases also. Another question pointed out by Gauri Shankar is, I think I personally disagree with Dr. Gauri Shankar and even with our resource person, Dr. J.S.R. Prasad. There is a notion among the scholars that Ayurveda is not a philosophy. Ayurveda is also a philosophy. So, I have heard so many persons say that a philosophy supported Ayurveda. Ayurveda borrowed something from philosophy. I don't feel these statements are truly correct. Every philosophies may be having some interlinking connections. For example, pramanas. We see the Pratyaksham Manimanam in many of the darshanas, but Nyaya is considered as the Pramana Shastra. So they have developed these pramanas in a very application level, in a very useful level. So each philosophy, each darshana has developed a particular area of the philosophy which is more useful to that philosophy is prameya, subject matter. So similarly, Ayurveda also developed this Panjabhuta Siddhanta, Dirveguna Siddhanta, etc. So Ayurveda is also a philosophy, and these can be considered, Pramanas and Panjabhutas can be considered something overlapping between the darshanas. We cannot say that Ayurveda depended upon some particular philosophy, and I feel that Ayurveda can be considered as an applied Indian philosophy. It has some applications in the body, so it can be considered as an applied Indian philosophy. That is my perception about these comments. Thank you all. I thank the organizers, Global College of Ayurvedic Medical Sciences, and my co-chairman, Professor Naresh Sharma, delegates, organizers, and co-organizers of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Over to Pradipha ma'am.
थैंक यू बट्सी मैम। इसी के साथ डे फर्स्ट का सेकंड साइंटिफिक सेशन कंप्लीट होता है। मैं डॉक्टर प्रसाद सर, डॉक्टर नरेश शर्मा सर, डॉक्टर मुरली के सर का हृदय आभार प्रकट करती हूँ, जिन्होंने अपना कीमती समय और अपने विचार हमारे साथ शेयर किए। कल 7 अगस्त सेकेंड डे ऑफ द साइंटिफिक नेशनल वेबिनार में 3 बजे ऑफिशियल इनॉग्रेशन होगा। उसके बाद 4:30 में थर्ड साइंटिफिक सेशन स्टार्ट होगा, जिसका टाइटल व्युत्पत्ति, निरुक्ति और परिभाषा ऑफ दोष, इट्स प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन होगा। आज के रिसोर्स पर्सन हमारे डॉक्टर जयसार प्रसाद सर को भागवत सर, ग्लोकल आयुर्वेदा कॉलेज, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ हैदराबाद की तरफ से आप ई सर्टिफिकेट जो है वो जारी कर रहे हैं। जयसार प्रसाद सर।
थैंक यू, थैंक्स अ लॉट मैडम, सो काइंड ऑफ यू।
धन्यवाद सर।
मैं इस अवसर पर एक शब्द बताना चाहता हूँ। इतने अच्छा प्रोग्राम आपने डिजाइन किया वागफड़ सरने के साथ, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाइयाँ। ऑल ऑफ योर फैकल्टी मेंबर्स इंक्लूडिंग द प्रिंसिपल एंड अदर अथॉरिटीज very actively participate and make this program, each and every session, a grand success. From administrative side and other aspects also, everything was perfect. And at the same time, I have 2 elder brothers here from Vaidya Sarani, Professor MURALI sir, who has given wonderful exposition of some of the questions asked by the delegates and faculty members here. Thank you, sir, for giving us new insight on applied philosophy is called Ayurveda. That's a new revelation for me. Definitely, I will try to develop knowledge further in this direction. Thank you. And my another elder brother, Professor Gauri Shankar sir, we have been collaborating with Vaidya Sarani for last 5-6 years. And this time also, with a lot of generosity, they invited us to associate in this wonderful program. So we really are indebted to Vaidya Sarani and also to GLOCAL University for this excellent opportunity to given us. I am trying to, sometimes we don't have words to say. So with wholeheartedly, I would like to thank all the organizers for this great opportunity to given to our department and especially to me. And I thank one and all. Namaste.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपके आशीर्वचन के लिए। आज का साइंटिफिक सेशन जो है वो यही समाप्त होता है। हम लोग कल शाम दोपहर 3 बजे जो है वो ऑफिशियल इनॉग्रेशन के समय मिलते हैं। धन्यवाद।